Hello, hello, and welcome back for another Mindful Monday. Today we are going to cover the third foundation of mindfulness. So I'll provide just a little bit of explanation and then we'll practice together. So, in the previous couple weeks, we have talked about the first two foundations of mindfulness. Body, it being the first foundation, body sensations. And then the second foundation being feeling tone. And today we will talk about the third, which is mind states, or what we commonly know and refer to as emotions. And just to distinguish this from the second foundation that we discussed last week, the second foundation of feeling tone, again, to just go back over that, is that first impression of whether I like something or dislike something. We don't even know what to call it yet. It's not yet a full-blown emotion. It doesn't have any context or story around it yet. It's just, is this an immediate reaction of I want more or I want less? I want to grasp more, I want to push it away, I want to avoid it. So that is feeling tone. Today is more about what we commonly refer to as feelings, or more specifically emotions. And so we'll jump into a practice here in a few moments. But this mindfulness of emotions basically includes anything that you might think of as a traditional emotion, like sadness, anger, happiness, things of that nature. And so as we dig deeper in with these successive foundations of mindfulness, we're getting more nuanced in our awareness of our internal experience. And so let's practice a little, all right? So feel free to settle yourself and sit down if you are in a place to do so. You can also do this while you're driving or being active in other ways. But I assume most of you are probably sitting down somewhere. So let's just settle and begin. I invite you to close your eyes if you like. I typically do when I'm guiding. And first of all, as I like to do in any practice, regardless of which foundation I might be focused on at the time, just fully arrive in our bodies. Just feel ourselves making contact with the surface that we are seated on, whether a cushion, a chair, the ground. And per the first foundation, the sensations of the body, notice those sensations throughout the body. Notice what you're feeling in your body. There may be some tingling, there may be some discomfort, some tension, warmth or cool. Just notice those sensations. For the second foundation, the feeling tone, just notice if there's any sense of wanting to approach or avoid, get away from any of the sensations that you're feeling in this moment. What's your gut reaction to whatever you're noticing in your body at the moment? You want more or less? Or is it neutral? And now, to play around with the third foundation, our emotions, for just a few moments, check in with yourself. How are you feeling right now? How are you doing? what emotions are present. See if you can single out one or two. I know for myself, sometimes I can experience a strong emotion and it seems like that's the only emotion that I'm feeling, but oftentimes if I'm a little bit more aware of the nuances that I'm experiencing, I'll notice maybe 2 or 3 different emotions happening simultaneously. Just notice what emotion is most present for you right now. Sadness, anxiety or worry, maybe there's just a pleasant sense of calm. Maybe some happiness or joy. Now notice if you can locate that emotion anywhere in your body. Does it have a physical location? We often think of emotions as being in the mind. And while that's true, they're usually manifest somehow in the body sensations. You can usually feel the emotion very literally, very viscerally. That's why they're called feelings. So I'm not going to feed you any options as to where you might feel them, because I want you to really notice for yourself. I don't want to prime you to feel anything in particular. Just notice, what are the sensations? Where are the sensations? What label can I place on this particular feeling state that I'm in, this mind state, this emotion? And here's an important point for this practice, is that we're not trying to change what we're feeling. All 4 foundations of mindfulness are simply about raising our awareness. It's not about changing our experience, but more about attending to. And as we continue to grow, it's about being able to accept and allow whatever we're experiencing, even the experiences that are more unpleasant. Time for action will be later. But for the seated practice, we learn to attend to, allow, and accept our experience in the moment. Even if the present moment experience is uncomfortable. And so now, especially if what you've been attending to has been an uncomfortable emotion, it can be helpful to end the practice by shifting your awareness back to the breath. Take a few deep cleansing breaths. Exaggerate the breath if it's helpful. Deep inhales, pause at the top, a long extended exhale. Take as many of those as you need. And then when you're ready, beginning to open your eyes and come back to the space that you're in. And there we go. Having attuned now to all 3 foundations, or the first 3 of 4 foundations: body sensations, feeling tone, and now the emotion. Now we're ready for next week when we'll talk about the fourth foundation of mindfulness, mental phenomena, which is a little even more complex. But I'll try to make it as simple as possible. So there we go. Thank you for joining me for Mindful Monday. I would be remiss if I didn't address the elephant in the room, so to speak. Hopefully you got what I did there. Today is Inauguration Day. It's also Martin Luther King Jr. Day. It's quite a juxtaposition that many are experiencing today. Not everyone is pleased with how things are going today. And I've been quite silent on politics this time around, as I normally am silent on politics. I may have thoughts and feelings about things, but something that I come back to over and over again is a Zen parable about a farmer and his horse. And so I'll leave you with this as just a little bit of support and encouragement to take things one day at a time and not get sucked in to all of the headlines and the doomsday prophecies out there. And so the Zen parable goes that there's a farmer with a horse. He has a family, he has this one horse, it's their prized possession. One day the horse runs away. And his neighbors stop by just to offer their condolences, and they're telling him, this is such bad luck, we're so sorry to hear about this. This is such a tragedy. And the farmer says to them, maybe so, maybe not. We'll see. And the neighbors are kind of confused, like, why isn't he reacting more strongly to this? This is clearly a bad thing. But he's saying, we'll see. A week or two later, the horse actually returns. And this time it returns with several wild horses. And the neighbors stop by and they say, oh my gosh, you're so lucky. Look at this. This is such a blessing. And he says, to their surprise, once again, maybe so, maybe not. We'll see. And again, they are just so confused by this man. A few weeks later, one of his sons, or his son, I think his only son, as the parable goes, is trying to tame one of the wild horses and tries to ride one of the wild horses and falls off and breaks his leg. These neighbors always have something to say. So they stop by and they say, oh my gosh, what bad luck. We're so sorry to hear about this. This is such a tragedy. And the farmer, once again, in his usual way, says, maybe so, maybe not. We'll see. Farmers are so still, like, what is up with this guy? But anyway, they go back to their place. A couple weeks go by, and the army is going around to all the homes, basically collecting everyone's firstborn son to conscript them into the army because the country has just gone to war. And they stop by the farmer's home and are ready to conscript his son, and then find out that he has a broken leg. It's still very fresh, but very raw, still healing. They can't take him. And so, I don't know if the neighbors keep stopping by or what, but clearly, this farmer has been through so many ups and downs, never knowing what's coming next. So his response to everything that everyone else is saying, like, oh, this is such a good thing. Oh, no, this is such a bad thing. He's continually responding to these events with the same mantra. Like, maybe so, maybe not. I don't know whether this is a good thing. I don't know whether this is a bad thing. We'll see. We'll see how this plays out. So I just want to encourage you, as much as is within your power, to the best of your ability, regardless of whether it's about politics or anything else that's going on in your own personal life. One of the most difficult skills to develop is that of equanimity, that of being able to just kind of take a few breaths and not jump to conclusions, not predict whether something is qualitatively good or bad ahead of time. Let things play out, see what happens. We'll see. With that, I wish you all the best luck in managing the next 4 years. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next week to discuss the fourth foundation of mindfulness and to practice together. So thank you for joining and practicing with me today. Take care.